What is clearly a scam but is so normalized people don't notice. I just paid for the privilege of setting up my router. Mobile game ads that show gameplay of a Call of Duty or Skyrim-style game but in reality are just a spin-off of Candy Crush. Rent-to-own furniture and appliances. Manufacturers refusing documentation to private repair enterprises and requiring you to get your products fixed by the dealer. Basically, the reason for the right to repair movement. Ticketmaster. The Verizon $1 scam. Verizon tacked on a $1 fee onto 8% of their customers' bills each month, so over the course of the year. They did it to every customer. About 150,000. Their rationale was, 50% wouldn't notice and just pay the charge, or would notice and wouldn't spend any time fighting a $1 charge. 50% would notice the charge and call to have it removed. Of those, 35% would get frustrated while on the call and give up. This added approximately $120,000 to the bottom line each year, 3 total, until caught. Once caught, they paid a $25,000 fine. Those registries that people pay money to, name a star. Funerals and everything to do with them. The funeral industry has insane pricing. Some of the funeral homes and vendors are even predatory, getting grieving families to pay upwards of tens of thousands of dollars. Because, that's what the deceased would have wanted. Printer ink. Often, the point isn't the not noticing, but the having a lack of better alternatives. Planned obsolescence. Where products are deliberately designed to have a defect or worse performance shortly after the warranty has expired. Edit. Wow, thanks for all the upvotes and the rewards. Here are 2 examples on how companies can influence how long a product can last. Using inferior materials and critical components. Like using soft metal screws or cheap plastic instead of metal in stress-bearing parts. Companies know how long these components on average last, so they can strategically place them. Designing the product so that components that often need replacing cannot be replaced by just anyone. An example is that a lot of products now have batteries that you cannot replace yourself anymore. Sometimes they are even so designed that even independent repair shops will have a hard time replacing these components. It is not only phones, but can be any electronic product. IDK. If anyone remembers power balance bracelets from the early 2000s. A lot of celebrities and athletes advertised for them, and they claimed to improve your balance and overall health. Well-being. A rubber bracelet made in a factory. It was all nonsense, but they still sold millions of units before shutting down. A new company owns them now and you can still buy them though. Edit. Yes lol. I heard about this from a Danny Gonzalez video. Here is the link. If you tell me the truth, I won't get mad. Mom. Having to pay $100 plus for glasses. Most mega churches. I remember an interview with Kenneth Copeland talking about how he needed a private jet to spread religion. Listen up. Everything is a scam. Everything. But if you send me $19.99, I can show you how to turn the tables on the scammer and get his money. Limited time offer. Send money now. Paying for cable TV. The whole idea of paying was to create a revenue stream separate from that of marketing. There are a few out there, HBO. I think. But generally we pay to access the content and still have to spend 20% of the time sitting through commercials. Then streaming comes in and we're free of advertisements again. For a bit. Now YouTube has tons of ads and other streaming services are talking about adding ads as well. The games at fairs, carnivals. Annual college tuition increases. Why aren't they held to a competitive pricing model as opposed to having to take out a mortgage to go to school? Everyone wants to talk about government paying for college education. But there is no conversation on why is it that expensive anyway. Especially when some unis have endowments in the billions that just the interest on those funds could literally pay the tuition for everyone that goes through the door. Update. Wow. This went crazy. Thank you everyone for keeping it to a civil discussion on the topic as opposed to going on political rants. And thank you for the awards, kind strangers. Every single person on the internet that sells some sort of millionaire education, it's all bullshit. Every single one of them. They are all fucking liars. Most of them are not even rich to begin with. They fake it enough that some idiots buy it. You are customers to them. Nothing more. Reducing a price by 1 cent to trick our brains into thinking a product costs less than it actually is. Bottled water. Like Dasani. Especially in places like an amusement park that markups the price a shocking amount. Also, the average markup of bottled water is 4,000%. Which is fucking outrageous. BC water is literally free most places. Hot MILFs in your area. Scientific journal memberships. Social media. From their happy beginnings, they are now mostly a funnel used to ram as many advertisements into your mind as inhumanly possible. Sponsored posts, every third or fourth item. I see you. IG, FB, Red, etc. And that's not even mentioning the extensive filtering network that curates the information you get to see when you're looking for something. Curated information is just a nice expression for you being conditioned to form certain opinions. Buy more stuff. Social media groom minds. Edit. Wow. Over 11K upvotes. If we may assume that 1 in 10 people bother to vote at all. This means that my post has been seen by over 100,000 people. This illustrates the amazing power of the internet. The irony is not lost on me that my most popular post ever should be about how social media have become overly commercialized to the point of being a scam equals. Things I learned from the comments and some light research. Many of you quoted the old saying, when the product is free, you are the product. The earliest attribution that I could find was to an artist named Richard Serra in 1973. To this I could add, there is no such thing as a free lunch. Building and running the internet is not free. In fact, several sources state that the internet consumes over 10% of the global electricity supply. Let that sink in for a bit. Using 10% of the global electricity supply is equivalent to running about half the USA, or Germany plus Canada plus South Korea plus France plus UK plus Italy. Put another way, 10% of global CO2 emissions from electricity generation are due to running the internet. If we estimate that 50% of internet activity consists of sending around advertising and spam, we have to ask ourselves, is that really worth spending 5% of the world's entire electricity supply on? Or would it not be better to dial that fluff way back and start charging users a fair fee? Speaking for myself, I believe that the internet is an invaluable addition to our lives, and I would be willing to pay a fair and transparent fee for an ad-free, tracker-free, spam-free, bot-free internet experience. Certainly if that means that we will also save 5% of the world's global electricity. Note that I am not saying the internet should be censored. Far from it. Of course, designing and implementing something like that will be very difficult. I think we will need to look to the EU for innovations in this space. I also learned that my ad blocking settings were overdue a refresh. I found that on my iOS, iPhone, iPad, in particular, it is hard to find effective ad blockers. This is due to the fact that Apple does not allow browsers other than Safari on iOS. The Firefoxes and Chromes you download on those devices are simply copies of Safari with a different jacket slapped onto it, for which Mozilla and Google pay Apple a pretty penny, no doubt. This means that spectacularly effective open-source ad blockers that should work on Firefox and Chrome and the like won't work on your iPhone and iPad. With some digging in the App Store, I did find something that seems to work. But let me not advertise here. Suffice to say, it is useful to periodically update your ad blocking system, and it seems that free, open-source blockers are the best of the bunch. Am I contradicting myself by saying that 1. I am willing to pay a fair price for my internet use, but 2. At the same time I am installing ad blockers? Yes, a bit, but I install the ad blockers mainly out of a concern for my privacy, which I believe is under heavy attack. Also, I believe the internet media have crossed a line. I mean, I can put up with some clearly identified advertising here and there. But who would enjoy a newspaper if at least 25% of it would be overt advertising and maybe half of the rest cleverly disguised, highly personalized paid content? If I can take a pair of automated scissors to such a rag, I believe I should. Phew. This edit started as a thank you to all who read my post and grew into a bit more. Perhaps I should start a discussion thread of my own, because clearly, the rampant commercialism on the internet annoys a great many of us. Doing your own taxes, and paying to use a privately owned software, or a service, when the government could totally do it for you. send you the details, and ask if it's correct. Edit. I want to mention that I'm in Canada, which is similar to the US in this regard. I use the free version of the TurboTax software and file for free. But they make the free version intentionally incomplete, so I miss out on tax savings. Edit number 2. Thanks for everyone's free tax software suggestions. Simple Tax and Studio Tax sound great. If I was in the USA I would totally use TurboTax sucks ass. But everyone should read the site's Tax Avoidance Hall of Fame. Seriously though, I've been procrastinating on my taxes and I'm late for the first year ever. You've saved me with these suggestions and made me feel the anonymous kind of internet famous with the upvotes and awards. Thank you, heart. College textbook prices. It's crazy how ridiculous expensive they are, putting even more of a financial burden on students. Members of Senate, Congress, and presidential candidates, collecting money from corporations, big donors, and hiding it in campaign accounts, PACs and super PACs, and then doling it out as they like. They no longer act as a government of the people and for the people. Edit. Since people are reading this and responding, I recommend you get to know and understand the approach of Lawrence Lessig and his approach to reform, which is well thought out and taking root. Thanks. Back to base security system monitoring. Huge scam. My smart home security system alerts me faster than ADT ever did. Biggest offenders. When you don't answer the call, they will send out someone and will charge you a fee. And every time your system messes up, it will send false error codes to the monitoring station, which they will charge you a huge fee to fix. And oh, if you want to disconnect it, the guy I spoke to from ADT was going to charge me $250 call out plus $50 for every 15 minutes he was at my house. And the job would have taken at least an hour, they said. They may need to go into the roof. No, I just called a security installation electrician and he said $50 call out and $30 for every 30 minutes he was there, but that was depending on the type of job. He was at my house for 5 minutes. Power off. Remove power wires from control box. Protect the wires so it's safe. Replace cover on control box. Done. He only charged $50. Compared to ADT's service, which would have cost about $450. ADT hardwired it into our power system, without telling us what circuit they plugged into. Basically one flip of a switch outside and the system turns off. Edit. Jesus Christ, 1000 upvotes. I guess people really don't like ADT or those companies. Diamond rings for marriage. Cat food. Look at the cat food at a random store. And see how the design brags about all the healthy vegetables they've crammed into your obligate carnivore's diet. Then check out the ingredients and see how corn, rice, etc. are often the first ingredients. Pet foods market toward humans by trying to appeal to human sensibilities, not genuine desire to provide your cat with the best diet. All MLMs. They prey on insecure women, specifically army wives, to give in. It's almost like a cult, guaranteeing new friends, lots of free trips, and make $20,000 a month. They are not your friends. The trips are only free if you become a top earner. And the only way to make $20,000 a month is to get at minimum 100 people in your team that work every single day. Most sales from those companies are from the salesperson who is buying it to sell it. And they tell you that you have to buy more to sell more. It's really gross. Edit. Wow, thank you to all the awards and responses. I wanted to add something. I've been researching MLMs for years. And I want to make what I mean about insecure women clear. Insecure. Meaning, sad, lonely, stressed, not financially stable, not guaranteed home, military family that moves a lot. I've been to these meetings. I've listened in on calls on how to get more recruits. I'm repeating what they have said on these calls and meetings. Sad, lonely, insecure. And I also do not mean all insecure women take the bait. I myself am extremely insecure in all which ways and have never joined a MLM. Even though I've been offered a bunch. I hate that they are so predatory towards these people. I want to make something else clear. I in no way judge the women and men and non-binary that take these opportunities. When you don't know where your next paycheck is coming from and you have mouths to feed, they make the offer so tempting. I would hope people choose a different job. But it's definitely tempting, especially for stay-at-home moms. Turn your judgment to these disgusting companies and the people higher up in those companies that make people feel like their lives are about to become so much better. Once you finish the high school, it's all fun ahead. Once you finish the degree, it's all fun ahead. Once you get a job, it's all fun ahead. ... Once you die, it's all fun ahead. Those Keymaster games that usually have something like a switch and a pair of beats and stuff. I work part-time at an arcade and you physically cannot win a prize until the machine has taken its retail equivalent in cash. Unpaid internships. Fuck anyone who gives unpaid internships. People get exploited like shit in that, and for what? Most times they don't even count. For what purpose? I get so irritated when someone posts unpaid but you'll be given a certificate. Shut the fuck up and do the work by yourself, you lazy ass. Edit. I'm talking about unpaid internships which don't give you anything other than a certificate. There are very few companies which offer unpaid internships that actually provide some value to you. I'm not blaming normal paid internships at all. Payday loans. Loot boxes in video games. The price for cable and internet. Homeowners insurance. Sorry, we're not selling new policies in your area right now because thing just happened where thing equals earthquake, wildfire, flood, and other things you might want to insure against. We don't cover that sort of problem. Where that sort of problem equals anything that actually happens to your house. Due to weasel wording loopholes. You submitted a claim? We're going to triple your rates forever after this. The diamond industry. Specifically as it relates to jewelry. Everything that the average person knows about it stems from propaganda and advertisements created by De Beers. They aren't rare. They aren't worth what you pay for them. They don't appreciate in value and are a terrible investment. They aren't special. Health insurance in the US costs a small fortune, never covers shit, and you still end up bankrupt if you're not rich and get sick or hurt. Ink cartridges. Printer companies make barely any profit off of actual printers. They're just vessels to make you buy unreasonably priced cartridges. Hey, please print this document in black and white. Fuck you, give magenta. MLM. Scientology. Internet data cap. Fucking scammers. Brands' high prices, especially clothing. Lotteries. Minimum wages staying the same, while the price of virtually everything else rises. Most kids' shows are just long advertisements for toys. The school picture industry. $80 for an awkward picture of my baby? Nah, thanks. Industrial age schooling and the 40 hours work week. Gasoline prices ending in 0.9 of a cent. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.